our team. Just for a quick note, to introduce my team, we're joined by Diego Fernandez, who is the Director of Product. He's going to be handling the demo portion of our agenda. And of course, speaking is Jerry Van Dalen. I'm the Sales Director here at Smarter Commerce. Quick snapshot of what our agenda is going to look like. The focus today is really talking about how JD Edwards organizations can automate their credit card payments, ACH payments, to better leverage or streamline their payment processes while also streamlining their PCI compliance. I'll talk very briefly on who is Smarter Commerce, just so that you've got a sense of who we are as an organization. I'll provide a conceptual overview of our payments solution. That's the name of the product that we'll be looking at today, Smarter Commerce Payments. And then we'll dive into the demo. Most of our time together is going to be invested in the demo portion of the agenda. So that's where we'll spend most of our time. And as I mentioned before, if you do have any questions in the meantime, go ahead and type it into the question and answer tab from Zoom. We'd love to engage with you. Just for a brief overview of who exactly is Smarter Commerce, we've been in the JD Edwards space for over 30 years. We've implemented JD Edwards many, many times, and along with our family of products in Smarter Commerce, completed well over 500 projects. As an organization, we're based in Miami, Florida, and of course have professionals joining all across the United States remotely as well. So in addition to that, aside from our consulting practice, Smarter Commerce also has a product family, of family of products rather, which we'll dive into in just a minute. And although our history is in the consulting space for the last 20 years, that is the majority of our history, we've actually been helping JD Edwards companies launch successful projects by uniting their sales channels or commerce channels and their ERP, that is their JD Edwards, into one system. A common challenge that we were running across before the start of Smarter Commerce was really realizing that a lot of tech leaders, business leaders, finance leaders, recurringly encounter a challenge when trying to streamline their credit card processes, and that really revolves around a lack of connection. JD Edwards organizations that accept credit card might utilize a virtual terminal of some kind, which is a standalone platform provided by a kind of a gateway, maybe by your bank, Wells Fargo, maybe like I said, a gateway, something like a Chase Payment Tech or an Authorize.net, where your customer service reps or account receivable folks will type in manually the credit card information on this virtual terminal, then hit submit, and then enter that transaction manually into JD Edwards, and at some point later in the month, reconcile these two transactions. Unfortunately, that generates a high degree of non-value added work. It's a very manual process, not to mention it's problematic from a PCI standpoint because your team is hearing customer credit card information being read to them over the phone. And of course, your employees at that moment may have the opportunity to write down the credit card information. For that reason, from a PCI standpoint, that process is problematic. And so tech leaders, finance leaders typically feel overwhelmed because they know that they have to get PCI compliant. They know they have to find an automated solution, but they can't find the right platform. And when you try and integrate a standalone gateway like a CyberSource, like an Authorize.net with JD Edwards, it's a very, very costly project. So what Smarter Commerce does is that we've developed a fully connected payment platform that enables you to conquer this complexity and instead focus on better serving the customer. We tie the credit card payment, ACH payment process to JD Edwards so that you've got one source of the truth. And at the same time, improving your options for PCI compliance. Here's a quick snapshot of some Smarter Commerce customers. This is not a complete list. I know that we're joined by some of our customers on the webinar today, and if you don't see your logo up there, forgive us. It's really hard for us to fit all the logos. They have to be microscopic, but we're very glad to continue to service our customer family. You'll notice that all of these organizations are running JD Edwards, as well as representing a very broad range of industries. Now, if we ask a broader question, what exactly is Smarter Commerce? You know the who, what about the what? So Smarter Commerce is a family of products, of solutions that help companies unite their commerce, payments, retail channels into one system that connects with JD Edwards. At the center of all that we do is JD Edwards. That's our history. It's the only ERP that we work with. And all of our solutions have been validated by Oracle and have been given the OVI, which stands for Oracle Validated Integration stamp of approval. You'll note here our five main product pillars. We've got a Smarter Commerce Retail, a retail platform, which is a point of sale user experience solution that integrates directly with JD Edwards. We also have a B2B e-commerce platform that helps customers, helps your customers shop online, build an order cart, check out, and of course provides all kinds of customer self-service portal capabilities. We also have a call center management solution, a connection to the Avalara AvaTax sales tax compliance platform, and of course the subject of today's discussion is our payment processing solution. I like to say that there's two sides of the coin when it comes to smarter commerce payments. The first is what we call using our solution on the sales order side, meaning a customer calls in, says, "Hey, Jerry, I'd like to place an order." Fantastic. Of course, many of those orders will go on account, but sometimes you want to give customers the option to place a sales order with a credit card. Maybe you're reaching customers that aren't quite credit worthy. Maybe a customer uses procurement cards or P cards or corporate cards as a way of tracking their expenses, or perhaps their credit terms are maxed out. They have no more credit available, and so they still want to place an order, and so they use a credit card. Smarter Commerce allows a native JD Edwards user experience for your customer service team to service that payment again, in a JD Edwards integrated fashion. So they get on the JD Edwards, they're building out a sales order, they indicate that they want to complete that sales order using a credit card, and then that triggers the Smarter Commerce application. And at that point, they have multiple options. A CSR can complete that sales order using a card that is on file, meaning it's a stored credit card. Of course, not stored in JD Edwards or even at Smarter Commerce. The actual credit card information is stored at the payment gateway level, a couple of payment gateways that we partner with, which means that your team doesn't have to store that credit card information. Additionally, we allow for an authorized by message option, means you send your customer an email or a text with an encrypted link. They click on that link and then they can type in the credit card information themselves. And of course, we also allow for your customer service team to type in a customer's information as they dictate it to you over the phone. So we give your team a lot of options. The key is that that payment transaction is tied to the JD Edwards sales order, which means that as the JD Edwards sales order works through, as the sales order works through all of the order activity rules inside of JDE, that authorization continues to exist alongside that sales order. And so once the order is picked, packed, and shipped, then Smarter Commerce will automatically reach out to the processor and capture those funds. You'll see this in action in just a few short minutes. It's important to note that we've also extended this capability to support an integration to a payment terminal that is a physical credit card device. Some of you JD Edwards customers, you service customers face-to-face. Maybe they walk up to a counter, and the person behind the counter, your employee, is completing a sales order at that moment. And they'd like a mechanism to accept a card-present transaction. We support that using our payment terminal integration, as well as extending the use of Smarter Commerce payments to third-party e-commerce platforms. Of course, we work natively with our Smarter Commerce e-commerce platform, but if you're running a third-party e-commerce platform, something like a Salesforce Commerce or a Magento or Adobe Commerce Now, Shopify, you can use our platform at that level as well. The other side of the coin that I've referenced earlier to borrow my illustration is using Smarter Commerce payments on the invoice side, meaning a sales order has already been placed on account, there's an existing invoice, and now your team is trying to collect on that payment. Smarter Commerce allows your account receivable folks to accept payment of that invoice using a credit card or an ACH. These can be new credit card or ACH accounts or stored accounts on both of those fronts. The big benefit here is that that invoice payment is aligned or tied to the actual invoice, meaning once we receive a valid form of payment for the invoice, that invoice is automatically closed out and that your all of your backend accounting is updated. Again, we allow for credit card payment of the open invoices, as well as what we call automate invoice pay by email or pay by message reminders. Well, what is that? It's actually automated set of emails that Smarter Commerce will proactively send your customers from your platform. They're branded after your branding standards and they have your logo on there and basically say, hey, Jerry, you've got 5 invoices due in the next 60 days. Click here to make a payment. And they click on that encrypted link. And then the customer can see all the invoices that are due, select what invoices to pay, full or partial payment, and then pay against those invoices using a credit card or ACH. It's a powerful capability that is effectively helps you drive down the day of sales outstanding, right? And you can collect more quickly. And it's self-service, right? Those emails are being sent out automatically. Now, all of these capabilities from an invoice payment standpoint can also be extended online to what we call our e-payments portal, which is really just a digital payment portal where your customers can log in, view invoices, download PDFs, pay against these invoices, schedule payments into the future, look at order status, order history, and the list goes on. All of these capabilities available online using our e-payment solution. Now, every time we talk about credit cards and payments, security is very important. And of course, given the nature of our solution, Smarter Commerce is PCI DSS validated. We complete that validation process regularly as part of making sure that our solution is servicing our customers. And some of the key features here is that, for you, the JD Edwards customer, absolutely zero credit card information is ever stored on JD Edwards. Okay, that information is stored at the payment gateway level. Additionally, Smarter Commerce provides all of the necessary hardware to run our application on the Smarter Commerce cloud. And of course, if you've got card present requirements, Smarter Commerce integrates with several point-to-point encrypted payment terminals. So certainly we can talk more about our security, Smarter Commerce on our website. You can scroll all the way to the bottom. You'll find what we call our Trust Center, which is basically our portal where you can view much more specific and comprehensive compliance-related information in regards to Smarter Commerce. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and transition now to the demo portion of our agenda. What we're going to be seeing is Diego Fernandez, again, Director of Product, running through a series of different scenarios inside of JD Edwards Enterprise One, and of course, interacting with our Smarter Commerce payments application. A couple of scenarios on the sales order side, on the account receivable invoice payment side. And I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. Diego, you can go ahead and take over. That being said, folks, I'll take a pause here. If you do have any questions, any comments, please go ahead and type them into the question and answer tab of Zoom. The Zoom panel should have that option available for you guys, and we want to make sure that we can answer all of your questions. So with that said, Diego, I'm looking at your screen, and I think we're ready to get kicked off.
Well, thank you, Jerry, and good afternoon or good morning to everyone on this webinar. As Jerry mentioned, I've gone ahead and shared my desktop here, and we're going to walk through various scenarios that Jerry was outlining in his PowerPoint. For the first scenario that I'm going to walk through, it's more on the order side or sales order side, where I'm going to walk through a sales order entry and take it all the way through posting of the payment, clearing the invoice, and then looking on how you would reconcile those payments. We'll then move to a second set of scenarios around accounts receivable and what we term our collections management capability that allows you to collect via either ACH or EFT transactions in Canada, clearing off open AR invoices, or utilizing other types of payments such as credit card or alternative payments such as Google Pay and Apple Pay to be able to clear those off as part of the payment processing solution. We'll also look at some other capabilities and so on, and then we'll wrap it up over the next 40 minutes or so of this presentation and webinar. So let's begin real quick here with our first scenario. I'm going to go through standard sales order entry application using the order entry application, or what they call the CRM form. Here I've entered in my customer. This is all standard functionality. This is the sales order header, and I move now into the sales order detail of my order, where I would key in the one or many products that that customer is desiring to purchase, whatever that is, so that you can get your totaling information. Once you've entered in all of your products, then typically you're going to click on either submit and enter new or submit and close. Either way, if this customer wants to pay with a credit card up front, where we're going to authorize funds on their credit card, and then later in the process settle those funds as part of a settlement or capturing process, you would walk through this step in order to go out and authorize those funds on the customer's credit card. Let me just speak briefly about this application. I'm not going to get into a lot of details, but we do have address verification services where you can verify the address against the billing address associated to that credit card. We have card security code or CVV2 code services where you can verify that card security code or CVV2 code provided by that customer to you. We have credit card on file capabilities. All credit cards are stored at the payment gateway and processor level, and they're responsible for maintaining that. They tokenize that credit card information and provide back a token. That token is then stored locally within your JD Edwards, along with the last 4 digits of the credit card itself. Along here to the right, you'll see the running total. We have obviously bringing back all that information from the JD Edwards sales order object, the order totals, any sales tax that's been calculated via any of the supported tax engines that JD Edwards support, being either Vertex, standard JD Edwards tax tables, or the Avalara Avatax cloud-based tax engine. Freight calculations, if you use transportation management within JD Edwards, or if you have other freight engines and you pre-calculate that freight, we can tie into that. Or we also provide a mechanism to what's called a authorization uplift for expected freight to be added in later in the process. And that's what you're seeing here. We have capabilities where we can uplift that authorization, similar to what they may do at a restaurant before you add in any type of tips for the service piece to your restaurant server, and then get a order total to be authorized. On top of the authorization amounts, we have capabilities around credit card surcharging, where a credit card surcharge is that pass-through of the percentage from your processor all the way out to the customer, and surcharging the amount as a pass-through back to the customer. Now, obviously, there are rules and regulations that you can configure within our solution at a state-by-state level as to the surcharge percentage, limitations, and so on per state. In the end, what we're getting to is a calculation of the amount to authorize. Notice it does not say that it's going to be charged yet. We're just reserving funds on the customer's credit card to later capture those funds once we've shipped that product and we have the actual amounts of both the delivery fees, the actual taxes, the actual product that was shipped, and so on. Now, once we know these totals, we have many different mechanisms to authorize those funds. And these mechanisms you can turn on or off based on what you want to offer to your customers, such as cards on file. If you do not want to store credit cards on file, even though they're stored offsite by the payment gateway and processor and are tokenized to be then stored, the token be stored locally, you can still turn that capability off if you so desire. You can authorize where the customer will provide you their credit card information via the telephone. And that's this button here, authorize with a new card. You can authorize using physical terminal devices. This is more for counter operations or warehouse operations where you have walk-up customers and you want to have a physical device there where they can use their chip and pin or swipe their card as part of a physical device. And then we have other capabilities around what we term authorized by message. This is a highly used capability by many of our customers where you send an encrypted email to your customer and they are responsible for entering their credit card information directly at the payment gateway and processor. So they will click on that link either via their telephone or their computer. And by doing that, they then move to a hosted payment page within the processor, and they'll then enter in that credit card information. And then once entered and tokenized, then that token is transferred back to your sales order. So there's different capabilities that we're going to see here. I'm going to start with the most common, which is enter with a new card. This is with the customer on the phone, and they're going to go ahead and read off their credit card information to me over the phone. Well, I'm going to go ahead and key it in as the CSR or salesperson in order to obtain an authorization for the amount of my order. So here I've keyed in all of the information that customer has provided. I can verify the amount that's going to be authorized. I can see their order number information, their customer information. I would click apply, which processes all of that information. And then if successful, will let me know that I now have a valid authorization in the amount of, in this case, of $1,200 and change. If not successful, it would provide my CSR information as to how to remedy the issue at hand. So here I would then, as a CSR, close my tab, return to JD Edwards, and then pull back that tokenized transaction so that I can go ahead and record that a valid authorization exists for this sales order, and I can save my sales order and continue on to the next customer. As you can see, easy and quick for that customer to interact, for your CSR to interact, and enter that as part of one complete process from beginning to end. We're going to enter here another quick order, same customer as we did before, but this time we're going to see the other feature where we're going to do an authorization via message. And we will send out an encrypted email to the customer where they will enter in the amount or their credit card information themselves. So here I have my order totals. I can go ahead and click on authorized by message. This will bring up the who's who related to this customer, all of the emails that are available. If I don't find it here, I can add the email, or I can just add it here by typing it in the row below. Here I found myself, I've gone ahead and selected it, and I'm going to go ahead and email this customer the encrypted email where they can enter their credit card information. In the time being, that order has been saved to JD Edwards, but that order is placed on a hold code. Here is my order that we just entered, and you'll notice that it has a hold code associated to it, waiting on the customer to enter their credit card information, so it'll go ahead and release that hold automatically. That hold code can be anything you want it to be as part of the configuration of the solution, and then it would be released as soon as the customer does their part. In the meantime, the customer will receive an email that is branded to your company standards with your logo and verbiage as you desire. They'll be able to verify their order number, the amounts, and so on. They would click on the encrypted link, which will drive them to a payment portal that is hosted by the payment gateway. And here, this portal will be branded again to your company standards with your logo, colors, and fonts. They can verify all of their information, including the order totals, and down below, even the product information that is part of this order, so that once they validated all of the information, they can go ahead themselves and enter in the credit card information that they desire to use as part of the transaction. So in this example, we'll go ahead and enter in a Amex, again, expiration date and card security code. And then once I've entered all that information, I can go ahead and validate my credit card information. Once validated, I can go ahead and process the authorization. I have now authorized the funds against this order, and out on the payment gateway, as a customer, I've completed my part or my duties. And now all that we need to do is we would have a batch report set up within your system that would execute every so often. Most customers execute it about every 15 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. And this report will go out to the payment gateway and retrieve any authorizations done by your customers. So here I'm going to go ahead and execute that report manually to hurry up the process, but it's going to go out. It's going to check, has there been any new authorizations? There has, retrieves them. And when I refresh my screen, we see that the order has now been automatically released off of hold, and a credit card transaction has been associated to that order, so that we know that there is a living authorization out there with a transaction ID and an amount that's been authorized of $318.02 against this order. So as you can see, we have multiple methods to be able to easily help your CSRs or sales personnel to authorize funds on a sales order in order to alleviate the process and be able to then quickly walk through the remainder of the steps. At that point, the CSR is done. They can just move on to the next customers, and the processes can continue as designed within your organization. So that's what we're going to do now. In my demonstration environment, my orders start at status 540, which means run pick slips in order to pick the product in the warehouse. So for our two orders, 9201 and 9202, we're going to just quickly walk through the remainder of the process. So I'm going to go ahead and run pick slips here. Again, this step really has nothing to do directly with the credit card process, but it is part of the order to cash process. So we're going to go ahead and run pick slips. We'll give it just a moment. And as that is executing, if I jump back to my screen here and refresh my screen, we'll see that it now has moved to 560, which is shipment confirmation. And we'll go ahead and do that. And if you recall, as part of my order entry, I did not enter in any freight amounts or actual freights because at that point I didn't know, or I don't have transportation management connected to my solution. We just estimated a possible freight authorization uplift. And now during my shipment confirmation, I'm going to go ahead and enter the actual freight. So I'm confirming my order, and I'm going ahead and enter my actual freight here, utilizing standard capabilities within JD Edwards. There's multiple ways to enter in this actual freight. Customers have third-party applications or other means. That is completely acceptable as part of the authorization and shipment confirmation process. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for both my orders here. I've confirmed one, and now I'm going to confirm the other one as part of my order flow here. And we'll add in, again, some actual freight as part of my order. All right, so both orders have been confirmed, and based on my order activity rules and based on my configuration, I have decided in my organization to do what's called the settlement of funds, or the capturing of funds after shipment confirmation. so that I know for a fact of what products have been shipped. I can then calculate actual tax, sales tax on it, and I can calculate any shipping fees that have been added to the order or any other adjustments on that order. So at this point, my order has been boxed, it's been palletized, and it's ready to go out the door via the delivery methods. And what I'm going to do now is run what's called the settlement report or the capturing report that is part of our solution. Most customers run this in unattended nightly operations. It just runs every so often during the day or once a day, however their processes are designed, and it will pick up all of those orders at a particular status and go out and settle or capture the funds for the actual amounts against that original authorization. So we're going to go in and do this process manually here, so we don't have to wait for our unattended nightly operations to execute. So I'm going to go ahead and pick my orders here and manually execute them and go out and settle the funds for my order. So there it's executing. For my orders, it's going out, calculating all of the actual amounts. Here is my report that it's generated. If we go out and take a quick peek at that report, this report is a very useful report to the accounting personnel. Here you can see the actual amounts that have been settled for each order, the actual surcharge amount that was added to the order based on a surcharge. And again, surcharge of a credit card is optional. You can turn that off or you can utilize it depending on your specific corporate policies. Here, I've gone ahead and then settled the actual amounts against this order, and I'm ready to move to the next step in my order flow, which is the printing of invoices. I'm going to utilize here standard JD Edwards invoice printing as part of the solution. So let me pick my orders again and allow this to process through. We'll give it just a moment to print invoices. The next step in my process would be sales update, which again, normally most customers run in a nightly operation unattended. So here we're going to go ahead and select my orders to quickly process them all the way through sales update and posting of sales into the general ledger, the accounts receivable customer ledger, and so on. Once that's completed, if I go out to the customer ledger inquiry screen of JD Edwards and I look up my order that we're working with, we're going to notice that the order has been created, the invoice has been created. In this example, as a total amount of $1201.51 for this order, and it's currently in an open status. Now, as part of our solution, we also give you capabilities to post all of the payments that you've just processed through and you've now charged on the customer's credit card. So this process, most customers, again, set up as unattended nightly operations. They select all of the settled processes and it goes out and automatically applies those as cash receipts into your accounts receivable. So let's go ahead and run the payment post here real quick for the orders that we're working with. Most customers run this once a night in unattended nightly operations, and then just wide open based on selecting of all of those payments and then processing those payments against the accounts receivable customer ledger. Here, I've gone ahead and executed, and now it's completed. If we return to the customer ledger application, which we have here open, and I refresh my screen, we see that the amounts are now gone. It is no longer open. The transaction has been closed, and a receipt record has been written against this specific invoice in the amount of the credit card charge, and also writing the last 4 digits of the credit card into the receipt number record for tracking purposes, which you are allowed. So here is one transaction. And if we go and look at the other transaction, sales order 9202, we'll see the similar impact here. The transaction's been closed. And now if I go into receipt details, I have a receipt record for my Amex. So what's the last thing that's pending is now reconciling these funds. So we've charged all of these credit cards, we've cleared them out, we've applied them, and then we now need to verify the monies that we are receiving from the merchant bank that we're working with. We've now received a lump sum transfer of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars for credit card charges from the previous day. And now we need to reconcile that I've received all of those monies. And here we provide automated processes to pull back those transactions and auto load those transactions and then cross compare them and auto reconcile them against the details within your JD Edwards. In addition, we provide you a manual payment reconciliation application that for those exceptions, or if you desire to just do that on a manual basis, where you can see all of the transactions that have been processed to date, and we can then tick and tie them off as we receive the funds and making sure that we've been paid 100% for all transactions. So what's important to understand here is if you are able to capture a valid and good authorization upfront as part of that order entry, the rest of the process is automated end to end. All you have to do is make sure that you're capturing that good credit card information, the authorization upfront for the amounts that are needed. And then you'll see that the process will work all the way through to applying that cash, charging the credit card, applying it against the AR, and then helping you reconcile those monies the next day when you receive them. So that's the order to cash process. As you can see, very easy for the user to follow it through and be able to manage all of the capabilities. Now we have capabilities in all different areas that relate to the ordering process. We handle back order scenarios and future dated scenarios. We also handle credit order returns and RMAs to be able to refund, if you so desire, back to the credit card if the original order was paid with a credit card. All of those capabilities are part of the overall solution as it comes to order processing within JD Edwards, integrated with our payment solution and payment capabilities. Now, in addition to credit card processing within the sales order processes, we also have credit card processing and ACH payments within the accounts receivable invoice collections capabilities. We provide a series of collections capabilities that help your AR team, accounting team, to be able to maintain all of their invoices up to date and reduce the days outstanding based on utilizing our collection methods. So here we can see multiple ways to utilize our collections capability. One is to pay for invoices via a credit card. Maybe your customer bought some product 20, 30 days ago, and now they want to make a payment, but they want to utilize their credit card on a one-off basis here. You can go in utilizing this application and then quickly select and find your customer via either the visual assist or other capabilities similar to all applications within your JD Edwards. Go out and select open invoices for that customer, whatever it is that they're desiring to pay. Select that and bring it back to the application to then either charge utilizing a credit card on file or a whole new credit card, or even charge via our terminal. So we also have capabilities here to utilize surcharges. We can also future date the charge, meaning there maybe the person that is in their accounts payable is going to be out on vacation a couple weeks and knows that they're going to owe you some money and wants to pay off those invoices. but wants to schedule it maybe for next week or the following week. Well, you can here utilize those capabilities to be able to future date the charge. So, and it'll process the charge on that date and clear off those invoices on that date. So many capabilities around collections. We also have unapplied receipt capabilities where maybe you're not ready to select the invoices, but you want to reduce their overall outstanding balance to you. You can just do an RU type transaction where it applies the unapplied receipt, and then later you can spread it against the invoices yourselves. So many different capabilities that you have here in order to manage collections. We also can even process credit memos and refunds through here, or net credit memos against invoices and then charge them the difference. So that's for those that are on that one-off. Customer calls in, wants to make a payment. We all have the same capabilities or very similar capabilities with ACH processing. So here your customer calls in, but they want to do an ACH payment. Well, same features here. You would utilize this application to go through and pay the invoices that the customer desires to pay, but utilizing an ACH payment transfer. So here I'm going to put in my customer, and I'm going to mark it here with a receipt number, whatever it is, the amount that they want to pay or make an ACH with. I can go out and now select my invoices that I'm desiring to pay. Bring back my invoices, whatever that may be. Once I have all of that applied to my invoices, 160.81, and let me correct this. 106.84. Once I have those amounts, I would click OK here, and that will drive me to a ACH submission screen, which is again an application provided by our solution that will submit the request into the ACH network to make a transfer from the customer's bank. So here you would type in, or if they've already stored their bank account on file with you, you would use this button. But if they don't and they want to just read off their bank ABA number or routing number along with the bank account number, they would just provide that via the telephone. You can put in a comment here, whatever the customer desires, and this will then submit the payment into the ACH network. And that will go through and begin the process. You got your transaction ID, it's been approved and submitted now into the ACH network. And as soon as it clears, it will go ahead and apply those payments against your AR invoices. So as easy as that, you can go through, select payments and submit it. Instead of applying or entering in a check, you can apply it right into their ACH network. All right, so that's another set of capabilities around the collections management, but let's expand a little further on some additional capabilities that are found within collections management. And that is the aspect of email reminders to your customer base as invoices are coming due. You can set up our email reminder system here that will interrogate the customer's open AR invoices, and once they hit a certain threshold based on the rules that you've defined, it will send out an email to the customer reminding them that their invoices are coming due. The email will look something like this, similar to the one that we saw with sales order emails, but a little bit different in that this is an invoice payment process. It tells you the number of invoices that were selected for payment and what the closest due date is and the amount due. Your customer would receive a branded email again with your logo and your verbiage here. They would click on the link, and it will drive them again to the payment portal where they will see the list of their invoices that are now due. They would have your logo and color and fonts for branded to your corporate standards. The customer then would, via their telephone or on their a computer, select those invoices, and they themselves would go through and make payment either via a credit card, alternative payment, or ACH, and submit that payment themselves based on the email reminders. This is a set of new features that was introduced recently that customers are taking great advantage of to be able to set up those reminders and post messages or emails out to their customer base so that it keeps the cash flowing and lets them know that these invoices are coming due so that they can go through and make payment on those invoices either via a credit card or an ACH or alternative payment method. So all of these processes as part of our overall payment solution are available to you within our solution. But as they always say, there's even more. So as part of our payment solution, not only do we have an email reminder, but a lot of customers these days just want to sort of set an auto pay system, meaning I here on a personal level, my electricity bill, my water bill, and so on, as soon as that invoice hits, it is charged to my credit card. So I don't need to go in and try to remember, oh, I got to make payment on this or that. I've set up auto pay rules that automatically then charge my credit card or do an ACH transfer from my bank account and pay off those invoices that are due. And here we have an auto pay system that you set up auto pay rules on a customer by customer basis, where you work with your customer to set up those rules. These rules can be, dynamic and different for each customer. Some could be based on invoice date and a set number of days prior to that invoice due date. Some can be on the actual invoice date itself instead of the invoice due date. Some may owe you a large sum and you want to set up a fixed day of the month. Maybe they pay every 15th and 30th of the month and make payment for whatever open invoices. Or some maybe want to pay on a fixed day of the week. They want to make a payment once a week for whatever invoices are due in that week, and so on and so forth. So a lot of capabilities here to set up different types of rules depending on your customer's needs and obviously what bank account or credit card they want to utilize in order to clear off those invoices. So you can either set up an ACH transfer or utilize a credit card, and automatically it will select those invoices that meet that rule and then do a lump charge against either the bank or the credit card, and then auto apply those right into your AR, clear the invoices, and then the next day you're just using our reconciliation programs to clear off the monies received. So as you can see, a lot of capabilities around collections to ease the pain and continue the cash flowing for those invoices that are coming due. All of these capabilities I've sort of breezed through, obviously highlighting different capabilities that are found within our solution. But what I would like to do is, go out to our website, go over to resources and product documentation. And in here, you're going to find a wealth of information related to our payment solution. We make all of our public specs available out to our out on the web, on our website. Here you can see all of the payment processing capabilities that are found within our solution. It's pretty extensive. There's many capabilities that I didn't touch on, such as deposit and installments for long-running, manufacturer to order type orders, and maybe you want to get a deposit up front and set up an installment plan or other capabilities. So many different capabilities that are found within our solution explained here within our documentation for each of the areas that you have available. One of the areas that may be of interest is that all of this is not only available within your JD Edwards, but also available as an electronic portal for your customers to log into. And that is found here as an example. This is our demonstration portal. It's our electronic invoice and presentment and payment portal, where a customer can easily, utilizing their credentials, log into their account and see real-time information about invoices and make payments and see order status and so on. So we give them inquiry capabilities and payment capabilities, where obviously the main purpose of this portal is to pay off open AR invoices, see what they have open, allow them to multi-select invoices. They have filter capabilities, but basically to walk through and make payment utilizing either a credit card, ACH, or some alternative type payment, such as PayPal or others, such as Apple Pay, Google Pay, or others. So similar capabilities, but allowing your customers utilizing a self-service type platform that is both mobile ready and desktop ready to be able to integrate real time with your JD Edwards information and give them a means to be able to manage the payment aspects themselves, including seeing things like the auto pay rules, scheduling of payments, historical invoices, if so desired, account balance information, and so on. So this is part of our e-payments portal capability. And our e-payments portal capability is a subset of our e-commerce capabilities. Our e-commerce capabilities allow you to extend the same capabilities, but instead of just seeing inquiries or payments, to be able to have catalogs of products where customers can actually purchase product, import products, and so on. But all of these same capabilities that we just went through, when I log in as a existing customer, I have those same payment capabilities that I have within our payment portal, along with all of the other shopping capabilities. So here is those same capabilities, being able to go through and see and pay off invoices, see account aging, schedule a payment, do the auto pay, and so on. So all of these features are extended out to the customer base, allowing them to be able to take advantage of those capabilities. So all of this, again, out within our documentation. It explains more of this. You can also see our e-payments invoice presentment and payment portal here in information. Or if you even want to expand further, we have our full e-commerce information here and all of the capabilities that are available in that area. A lot of features, a lot of functionality available, configurable to the different needs. We have hundreds of customers utilizing our solution in different ways and means within the service area, within standard JD Edwards order processing, as a collections capability, all of those based on what is required for your organization and what are the specific needs that your organization is looking at when it comes to payments. With that, I know we only have a few moments left for the presentation and the webinar. I'm going to start closing up my aspects of it. I know I tried to share a lot of details and a high summary of all of the various capabilities, but if there's interest in diving deeper into any of these areas, or if you have specific scenarios that maybe you didn't see here, please reach out to us and see so we can talk and see if there's a way for our solution to obviously meet and help you in those specific needs. With that, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing and transfer the presentation back to Jerry so he can finalize with any questions or comments.
Yeah, Diego, thank you for walking through those scenarios. That concludes our time together. I know we've had multiple Q&As, so a few questions come in from the attendees. I will be reaching out to all of the attendees with additional notes. As if you have any follow-up questions at that time, we can certainly discuss. And then, of course, I'll be handing out the recording as well. So a big thank you to all of the webinar attendees. We appreciate your time here and look forward to engaging further. Thanks and have a great day to everybody.